Hi, my name is Becky, and I just got back from visiting friends in Colorado. We moved from Colorado to Texas about a year ago, and we lived there for a very long time, so I still consider myself a Colorado girl. I lived there for 30 years, just about, and we inherited a house down in Texas, which we were unable to sell. So after 3 years, we put our house on the market in Colorado and we moved down south. And it's all good because my parents are down the road and it's good to be here for this stage of their life. But I miss my Colorado friends a lot. And I'm going to put some pictures in of my recent visit. I'm going to try to figure out how to do that, so you can see how beautiful it was, because the aspen were turning and it was just lovely. I have a daughter who lives in Denver, and so we do get to go back quite frequently. But I miss my fiber friends, and when I was there, I was energized by them. We energize each other. I'm sure you guys know what that is like. And when I moved here, I didn't have that anymore. And so I started watching video podcasts, and I felt like I had fiber friends all over the world all of a sudden. And so because I enjoy that so much, I'm going to attempt to do a video podcast myself. Mainly because when I was in Colorado, I told my friends that I would do that so we could stay in touch and I could show them what I was working on. And hopefully they will send some back to me and we will continue that fiber mojo going. But I have some finished objects to show you. I have some things I'm working on, and I have a few other things to chat about. So I hope you'll stick with me for a few minutes. And sorry, the dog just ran past. And just let me show you some things. So the first thing I want to tell you about that I forgot to show you guys in Colorado when I was there is I finished my From Ashes to Fire socks. Now, in Colorado, like California, we had to deal with forest fires quite a bit. And a few years back, there was a major one. Well, there's always major ones, but this particular one started in Waldo Canyon, and we were on the other side of Pikes Peak. So we were not able to go down into Colorado Springs. For 6 weeks, they had the pass closed. And it was a very scary time because we were constantly on alert. We had things packed by the door, ready to evacuate at any moment. And that fire jumped the ridge and swooped down into Colorado Springs and just took out homes within minutes. These people had no warning. It was kind of unprecedented in history that had ever taken place. And anyways, it was a very difficult summer. And that September, when I went to the Salida Wool Festival, there was a dyer there, Woolly Wonka, and she had dyed up some gradient, got a hair in my mouth, some gradient yarn, and she called it From Ashes to Flames, I believe. Anyways, she knew it would be significant for us. So I had 4 different gradients starting here, and I blended them in by knitting about 10 rows alternating and moved down into the ashes. And I love these. I love the colors in this. I did a Fish Lips Kiss Hill, which I actually was able to teach my friends in Colorado a few years ago, because I have knit a lot of socks And I will tell you how I got that name Socks for Mom later on, maybe in another video, but there is a story. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys this. And the next thing I just finished was from Skandir Knits. She's a Norwegian living in London. She's very cute and very sweet and very inspiring. And she is hosting the Selbu Mitten Club. And these mittens come out in installments. So far, well, one you get free as joining, and then 2 have been released. Another one will come out November 1st, and the last one will come out December 1st. And my goal is to knit all of these before Christmas because I love stranded knitting. I love Fair Isle knitting, and these just only took me a day maybe, or 2 days. Now, Ellie said it takes her only a night to do them. Well, I'm not that great, but so anyways, here they are. And I just love them. Here's the thumb. See if I can, not quite sure how to do my hand here. Here's the thumb. And this is called Mitten. I'm not sure how to say that. You might check out her podcast because she says it beautifully. But let me tell you what I did. So, 10 years ago, on January 1st, the Dell of Norway group was having a cast on a Dell of Norway sweater to commemorate the Olympics, I believe. And we all cast on a sweater January 1st. Well, mine has languished on the needles, and it's been causing me much stress hanging over my head, but I have not wanted to pick it up or do anything with it. My gauge is all off because I knew very little back then on how to even do the stranded work. I'm pretty sure I did not carry the dominant color in my right hand with the contrasting color in my left. Anyways, here is that sweater. It's quite beautiful, but what I am going to do is make this into a pillow. I'm going to make that into a pillow. Then I won't feel guilty anymore. I can get it off, wipe it off my UFO slate, be done with it. But I have some Dell yarn, so I will be knitting all of these lovely mittens in that yarn. And so that's my goal. So the next thing I want to tell you, though, is I am enrolled in the knitting, the TKGA, the Knitting Guild of America's Master Knitting Program. And I'm currently on level 2. I've been working on it for a couple years now, maybe 3, but I have completed level 1. And I learned something about mittens because you submit all your work and then they evaluate it and they send it back with suggestions, and you keep reworking your work until it's right. So I ended up knitting 3 of these mittens. And I can't really hold them. I don't know if you can tell, but this one is quite big. And this one is a little bit smaller. And this one is just right. And I had problems with my gauge. And with this one, I believe I knit it on wooden double point needles. And my co-chair suggested I try another needle size. So I went with metal on these, and I was still off gauge just a teensy tiny bit. But a teensy tiny bit in a sweater will be a huge difference. And so what I ended up finding out was it was not the double point needle, it was the technique I was using. So when I switched over to magic loop, I was finally able to get gauge. So it's really important that you get that gauge and you figure out not only what needle to use, what size to use, but also technique can make a difference in how whether or not you get that gauge. So I love the Master Knitting Program because I have learned so much through it, mostly by trial and error, but it's well worth the time investment if you ever have a chance to go through it. It's a lot of work. So that's my tip on knitting mittens. And the other thing I'm working on right now are some monkey socks. Now, I also watch Little Bobbin Knits, and Danny is quite sweet also. I love all these girls. They're just adorable, and they're so enthusiastic, and I just really enjoy them. And on Danny's site, actually I think it was on her Instagram, she posted that she was knitting some monkey socks by Cookie A, and wanted to know if anyone wanted to participate in an autumnal monkey sock knit along. And I jumped on it because I have a very special relationship with Cookie A's monkey socks. First of all, let me show the pattern to you. Let's see here. I love it. It's a very quick sock. You can see that. It goes quickly. It's a lot of fun. It starts with a twisted stitch cuff, and it's just so pretty. And I bought this yarn in Colorado. When it was on the skein, it reminded me of the aspen trees with the Colorado blue sky and the white bark of the aspen tree. But when I started knitting it up, some of those colors, they just kind of muted together. So it's not quite turning out like I thought it would, but it's still very pretty. But what I want to tell you is that pre-Ravelry, the way knitters socialized was through writing blog posts. And I had a blog that I maintained for a very long time. It's still out there, and I occasionally write on it. But that's how we knew about knit-alongs, and that's how we communicated with each other. Sounds kind of archaic now. But I thought it would be a fun idea to have a monkey sock swap. So people would sign up, and everyone would knit their monkey pal, because I would match them up to a monkey pal. They would knit their monkey pal a pair of monkey socks in whatever their favorite color was. And you would knit this pair of socks, and then you would include 2 monkey items in with your package and a skein of their favorite yarn. And they would have to fill out a form that told their favorite colors and their favorite yarn or yarn they wanted to try. And so that was just real special. But I have here something I got in one of mine. I got like this Curious George pencil case. Not quite seeing where the other one is. I have another one too. That's really cute that had monkeys on it. But it was always a lot of fun to go shopping and try to find all these little cute little monkey things. We had a blast doing that. So the next thing I want to show you that I forgot to tell you about was my recent gadget. It is a sock ruler. It's showing up backwards on my screen. I don't know if it will on yours. But I really love this thing because for years now I have probably knit 150 plus socks. And for years I would always figure out, you try to knit it until it's 2 inches short of your foot. Well, how do you measure that? Do you measure that from back here? Do you measure it wrapping a tape measure around the edge here? Or do you measure it like this? Well, with this sock ruler, you can stick it in here. You can get multiple measurements. I know, for instance, that I knit my foot till it gets to that 7 1/4 inch because I wear a size 8, which is 9 1/2 inches long, a foot length. But I like a little bit of negative ease, so I really like my sock length to be 9 1/4. And I just love this because you just fit it on there. And also you can use it when you are measuring your cuff. Can't really do that right now, but you can figure out how long your cuff is by going this way. So that's just a fun gadget. I really like it. I think I got mine at websyarn.com, but I've seen them all over the place. Okay, last thing I want to show you is, these are my birthday socks. I'm knitting these for me for my birthday. And I'm knitting myself something else. We lost a dear friend this year in Colorado who died suddenly. She had a lot of stash and she had a lot of projects that were unfinished. She was a weaver. And this impacted all of us in a way, different ways for each of us, but I think across the board, most of us have decided that we don't want to have lingering projects around, and we want to knit down our stash because we have significant stash. And so that is one of my goals. So when I was watching Woolenvine, she and Jinx, I'm blanking on their names, I am so sorry. Both of them are co-hosting a Stephen West Marled Magic Knit-Along. And the deadline is October 31st. And when I saw that this shawl was designed to use up stash, it was perfect for me. Now, it's a crazy looking shawl, and it is really crazy in the colors that he knit it with. But I thought, I have all these teeny tiny little balls of leftover sock yarn that I've been saving to repair socks, which I never do. If one of my socks gets a hole in it, I usually pitch it and buy more sock yarn. So I have a lot of little bits and bops of all these little balls, and I thought this would be perfect to use up some of that yarn. So I've been working on the Marled Magic Shawl, and I am just about finished. I am binding off the I-cord bind off, which goes on forever. And then I have to make tassels, but I'm not sure if I want to make the tassels, so I want to ask you what you think. But here it is. Basically, we started with this mesh section, which I really love. And then we moved into, turn it this way, this long marling. And basically what you do is you knit with 2 strands of yarn, 4 rows, and then you drop one of those colors. You pick up a 3rd color, and you knit those for 4 rows, and then you drop that 1st color, and then you pick up another color, and you're just continuing to do that till you get this nice marling effect all the way through, which I think's very pretty. I just had a lot of fun doing that. And then you get into some brioche. And I had bought this yarn for a 2-color project. I could never find a color that I liked with it. So it was nice to use it up in this. And I took a strand of silk mohair, and it just gave it a lovely fuzzy softness that I really like. Then you came back down to the other end, and you knit this little wedge right there. That also has some kid mohair, I believe, in it, a strand of white. And then you have another marled section, and with this section, I had a strand of, well, actually, it's this color. This is some Barefoot, Mountain Colors Barefoot. And I held that strand all the way throughout, and then just changed a background color. And that is a standard marl, I believe, whereas the other one's called a fading marl. And right now, I'm doing the I-cord bind off. Here comes my doggie, telling me it's time for dinner. She always lets me know. So I'm going to have to wrap this up, but she will not. I've got all these ends I need to cut off. But hopefully next time I will be able to show you this finished. It's going to be fun to wear. It's kind of crazy, really crazy for me. But I can get kind of crazy sometimes. But so he had a lot of pop colors, which is why I ended up going with this bright yellow, or this goldish yellow, because I thought just putting in another blue would have just been a little bit too much. I don't know if I'm sold on this yellow. But so that's where my dilemma is. I do not know if I should put tassels on. Well, there's 3 tassels on it. And the tassels are in the same color as the bind off. Actually, there's supposed to be a beautiful French braid down the back, but I misunderstood that part of the directions, and so I don't have tassels to have a beautiful French braid. But, I mean, enough strands to knit, to braid a beautiful braid. So my tassels are supposed to be the same color as this I-cord. So what do you guys think? Can you picture yellow tassels on these colors? every time I show you it's upside down. It's on the wrong side. Here's the right side. What do you think? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Well, I think that's going to about do it. I think I'm going to send this off to my friends in Colorado. Here, let me hide that door right there. But I would love to hear from you if you can. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I am going to, you can follow me on Instagram, Socks for Mom. You can look at my old blog post, or I may add a Ravelry thread. It just depends. But it was a lot of fun talking to you guys. Bye.